Good evening, everyone. A bit nervous, because of the lineup. Alright, good evening, everyone. This is truly a privilege for me to moderate this forum on the topic of good governance, transparency, and integrity of an organization. So I believe everyone here is actually a part of the association, and especially FNBA, we are all actually representing as the presidents of an association. As leaders, we are entrusted with responsibility, not just the authority, The integrity of our organization begins with us. How we make decisions, how we manage the fund, how we treat our members. So there's a lot of things that we need to look into as an association leader. These are the factors that determine whether our association grow with dignity or fall into conflict. So today we are fortunate because we have a lineup of distinguished panelists who represent essential dimensions of governance compliance, anti-corruption, and also legal accountability. So allow me to introduce each and every panel here. The first panel on my left is Superintendent Thilak from Cawangan Swasta Bahagian Pendidikan Masyarakat SPRN Putrajaya. And then next to him, we have Encik Afiq Afdal from the Unit Penguatkuasa JPPMW Wilayah Persatuan Kuala Lumpur. And then we have Mr. Raja, a practicing lawyer for 23 years, and he is also a legal advisor of FNBA. He is also a legal advisor for several associations. And on the far left, we have ACP Chek Seng, Deputy Chief of Crime Prevention and Community from the Safety Department, IPK. Thank you all of you for being here. A round of applause for all our panelists. Alright, so we will jump into the topic. Alright, so we have seen cases where associations face internal disputes, financial mismanagement, or even deregistration. So because all this happens because of weak governance. So let's begin to understand what good governance really means for association leaders. Can I start with you, Mr. Afiq? Alright. So from the ROS perspective, what are the common governance weaknesses you observe in associations, particularly those that lead to dispute or deregistration? And how can associations strengthen compliance and transparency within their committees?
Okay, good evening. Thank you for inviting me for this forum for the MFBA. Thank you, Mr. Nair. I'm a bit shocked from our own to take part. Usually we don't take much into consideration to hadir or joining such public events usually, because sometimes we try to take a neutral step, because sometimes there are certain issue yang when become any mana-mana komiti pun dia akan, bila ROS akan masuk campur, there's a case before this yang menyebabkan perselisihan itu berlaku sebab we tend to favor kenapa yang kita datang tu menyebabkan the other party also nak juga. So sometimes I'm very grateful to this opportunity. Okay, sometimes why transparency or good governance is crucial for any association involved in KL or within Malaysia. Because my Cawangan is in Kuala Lumpur, we try to handle as long as paling cepat lah usually for our enforcement team, because sometimes the lack of the manpower is not an issue for us, because sometimes we are quite small, but it's not an issue for anything else to cater about misusing the fund. follow the constitution, amendment without ROS obligation, or bagi tahu pun ROS when you buat annual general meeting. It's such a crucial within your own constitution. But the constitution is the backbone of any NGOs. So I reiterate again, because any association, because it changes hand so lot. I see it's like a small association, macam Persatuan Penduduk or Persatuan Hobi, collect stamp. They have not any standing secretariat to do it. So they have to know it on their own. Cari, datang ke counter, call. Because we are so small, the helpdesk in KL only 4 people, and the incoming call within a day is almost 200. Yes, 200 associations calling four helpdesk. We try to get around 50%. Sebab KL alone 11,000 association. KL sahaja. In Selangor is 40, it's a bit more. But we try to manage. Sometimes it's not an issue so much. It's become an issue because the lack of transparency of good governance there. Because sometimes the workflow of the process, dia tak follow the committee members. Okay, contoh, you nak try to amend your own constitution, but asal usul tu the draft of the constitution is not presentable by SCO committee member first. In the SCO committee meeting ke bincang macam mana, there has to be a minute there. How do you to amend or propose that constitution, because it takes a lot of people's attention, because sometimes when you get Persatuan Gabungan like FDA, Persatuan Doktor, Persatuan Profesor, all of these university involved for us professional people, sometimes we try to, kenapa benda tu, the communication is not there. Itu sahaja. Itu yang the source of the complaint to RS is why the information did not get to the bottom, to the members. Dia sampai ke atas sahaja. Why? Itu yang menjadi the backbone of any complaints to RS. Annual general meeting tak invite, tapi when we look, when I go to that side, ke Persatuan MIDA, penelitian or interior designer, they do it. Tapi kenapa dia orang hantar? Ada dalam WhatsApp, semua ada. So yang menjadi yang we try to sometimes yang look at it as a weightage lah. Kenapa benda tu there's a miscommunication between lines yang menyebabkan the complaint there. Sometimes the complaint in RS Kuala Lumpur is around 10 a day. So far the recurring or not, a new and or not is sometimes recurring is there. Sebab contoh, when I go to the Persatuan or our enforcement team A, yang we have an inspector and our sergeant, try to get down to the site. Sometimes benda tu jadi macam saya tak lost in thought lah. Benda tu ada tau, tapi benda tu tak sampai. Why? Itu yang menjadi sebab bila apa-apa berlaku, macam contoh, once the complaint come, kita tak kejar one people. Macam contohlah Datuk Seri or Tan Sri, macam aduan tu khusus kepada that president or that ex-secretary general. Kita tak charge individual, we charge the whole NGO at fault, yang menyebabkan jika persatuan tu is not tak cukup dokumen to back up itself against the allegation coming, menyebabkan benda tu terbakar. That's another thing. Persatuan batal, all the funds is frozen, go to insolvency. Saya pun in charge of hantar dokumen. Kadang-kadang yang batal saya risau juga sebab there's a lot of money inside the NGOs. Sebab all the money is going to do a good thing, good cause, to help each other and certain aspect for the business and networking and so on, semua aspek on life lah. Saya boleh cakap sebab in RS saya boleh tengok A to Z daripada persatuan, the small one, persatuan penduduk sampai FMBA or YMCA or MACC, Petronas, all in Kuala Lumpur. When I'm dealing or our enforcement team dealing with inspector or sergeant, try to get on that issue, we expect Persatuan can tackle that issue with the document. Benda tu jadi insufficient because the document is lacking. Itu menyebabkan benda tu. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Afiq. So apa yang saya faham ni dalam running an association, proper documentation is the most important thing, is the most essential thing. And of course, being the part of the committee of an association, being a president, being a secretary, being the committee members, this is a lot of work. So, biasalah human error, kita akan tend to have a lot of mistake. But I think ROS will not take our reasons saying that human mistake lah. Okay, so itulah sebabnya kita ada this forum today, because we want to make sure we do the right thing. Alright, thank you very much, Afiq. Mr. Thilak, now, can I ask you, we often assume corruption only happen in government and corporations, alright? But associations are not immune either. How can conflicts of interest, favorism, or misuse of funds arise in associations? And what preventive controls should leaders implement from day one?
Okay. In the context of us from MACC, SPRM, yes, we go towards associations in a different kind of way. The thing with problems that occur with associations is, if there is a mishap there, they come to MACC to make a complaint. Imagine you have a condominium, you have an association who takes care of it, and they don't understand that we cannot investigate that kind of associations. For their mishaps, there's misappropriation of funds. The only thing that MACC can do is when there is something wrong there regarding corruption. For example, they make a complaint with ROS, then ROS investigates, and there's something goes wrong there, then we come in. So on the point of association, if it's a business association, that's different. Because for business association, we have a specific law on it. We call it the Corporate Liability Act. We amended it in 2020, 1st of June. So on business entities, before that, we cannot go after them. But now, yes, we call it liability of legal person. But for general associations, we don't have the power yet, just because the Secretary General didn't supply the proper documentation. No, not yet. Unless there's a proof there that something wrong with corruption. They say bribe somebody to get documentations, or they bribe some other person to get a contract, then yes, that's the legal way MACC can come in. So anything that MACC can open the door is, the first keyword is corruption, is a bribe. That's the only way. Without that, there is only misappropriation of funds, which does not include corruption, then it's quite hard for us to come in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now, can I convey the question to Mr. Fu?
Okay.
Okay? Is it Fu? Tuan Fu?
Thank you.
Okay, sometimes
Yes.
internal disputes or financial matters within association can escalate into police reports.
Exactly.
From your experience, what are the most common offences or misconduct that association leaders should be careful to avoid? So we want to avoid, so we don't want to be caught in it. So please.
Okay, thank you. Okay, frankly speaking, when it comes to misconduct or any things that Actually, I prefer, I'm not to say I agree with this, the word communication, when it comes to communication. Because when we talk about humans, it's always about communication. When the communication is not proper, it becomes misunderstanding. When misunderstanding occurs, it's physically it's okay, then you can see it becomes fights, or quarrel and into fights, then take police reports, then police will come in. So those things that we don't see usually is the fraud, criminal breach of trust. Okay, this is the issue when you really need a very good SOP in the organization or association to look into it. And secondly, when we talk about investigation, it is about trust nobody, suspect everybody. So everyone can be the suspect. And when you trust someone and you give the veto power to one person to manage the fund, then many things come in. So to avoid that, so no veto power please. You give power for especially on this management of funds, transfer, things like that, you give to one, not one, more than one. Maybe you can get 2 people or 3 people. Although sometimes you say, leceh lah. You have to find this, you have to find the secretary lah. You have to look for A, look for B, look for C. Frankly speaking, that little trouble will save your money. So which one you want? You want to take the risk, or you want to just make it simple lah. So when you make it simple, actually it's simple for the criminal to take action. So simple to the criminal, or just take a little bit trouble and then you secure your fund. It's your choice. Okay. What else you have to trust? What else you have to look into? Actually, the word trust. Okay. Yes, trust is very important. It takes years to build a trust, and it takes a moment to destroy it. And once you try to destroy the trust, it's very difficult to build the trust again. But must remember, when it comes to human factor, it is very subjective. You can trust anyone, no issue. But the trust must be limitation. Limiting the trust, or you secure the trust, or you enhance the trust with documentation, you enhance the trust with this procedure, so that you can really sleep well, and so that you can really trust enough. So like what it says, the documentation is very important, because when we come, you bring whatever we bring to court is always for facta, it's for facts. And what to prove facts is always the documents. So these are the few things that you really look into. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tuan.
Thank you.
So remember, trust nobody,
Suspect everybody.
suspect everybody. Okay? The one sitting on your left and right also is a suspect, huh?
Because you see, when we investigate, if you don't suspect, thank you, sir. If you don't suspect everybody, you are limiting on investigation.
Correct.
So you say, okay, this one cannot suspect, that one cannot suspect. So we only limit our investigation to a small group. So you have to suspect everybody, so that when you widen the investigation, then you scoop in, narrow it into the target. So that's the best way of investigation. Not to say that everybody is criminal, no. But it's the way of investigation. We broaden our investigation and then we scoop inside.
Alright. So now it will be interesting that we will listen from the legal perspective, from a lawyer. Alright. Mr. Raja, many associations don't have formal governance training. What simple legal safeguards such as meeting minutes, financial approval processes, or constitution clarity can protect the association and its leader from unintentional and intentional abuse?
Thank you, Ms. Bkay. Thank you for having me here today. I think before I answer that question, I think we ought to look why associations are formed. All right, without we always going back to the basics, and we keep on advancing and we don't remember the basic rules and fundamentals. Humans tend to make errors and mistakes. All right, or whether intentionally, unintentionally, knowingly, or unknowingly. All right. Now we must understand every associations are formed to form a common interest among individuals and associations. That is the most fundamental reason why an associations are formed, right? Whether be it individual or collaborative association, right? If we don't always go back to the basics, right, mistakes bound to happen, right? Now, next, the associations are also formed to achieve collective goals, whether between the individuals or between the common associations, and it provides support and services, right? And the kind of support and services that is basically everyone comes together to collaborate, to offer support, share resources and services to their members, among the members and between the association members, right? And it creates a voice and representation. And this is one of the important points that I always think, that instead of individual voices being heard, individual group or separate group among the main group, you form a separate subgroups and all that, and only the selected few voices are being heard, again, then here we're already failing, right? So, what I'm saying is, the association should be the collective voice of every member, whether you are for or against anything in the association, all right? Then this will allow them to advocate their interests, influence policy making, decision, and associations can be the pressure group to the government, right? It is not just for the government, it can also be the pressure group, right? You don't have to act against any government of the day, but as long you know the common purpose of the members and its associated members, then you are there actually achieving your purpose and target of your association, And it establishes standard and ethics, right? As long you fall within the purview of your association, it will actually form the standards and ethics within the association, and that will bind each and every members, right? And assuming that there are people who are diverting away from the common standards and ethics that's been established in the association, then it should raise an alarm. It should raise a red flag within the committee and within the members before actually it's escalated out to all the enforcement officers here on the floor. Alright? So the internal mechanism, the check and balance has to be established within the association itself. Alright? The most important the points I'm raising here is it promotes transparency and good governance. Right? Now, the legal safeguards that we can have in the associations are the committee members and members must understand their respective responsibility. I'm not just saying committee members, it is also the members' individual responsibility and collective responsibility in addressing each and every issues or problems or even the good things that are happening in the association, right? So we don't split committee members and with the supreme leader in the committee member and all the downliners, and then we have the members are being separated or isolated. No, it should never be that way, right? And then committee members has statutory responsibility. It is you're holding position and you're holding office in that association. It is not for fun. It is not for glamour, right? It is actually statutory responsibility. And this is where, when you fail to understand why you're actually holding a position, you are actually breaching the law, whether directly or indirectly. In whichever way that it can be interpreted, the different agencies are here, they can interpret your act. The same issue can be interpreted in many different ways. I'm sure the officers here will agree with me, all right? And committee members are entrusted to make informed decision. They need to manage resources diligently and with integrity, all right? And they must uphold the association's constitution. Constitution is the most supreme, the most highest law of that association, not individual word or group's decision. Right? If you are not complying with your own constitution and you do something outside, which will give rise for interpretation of any act, then the committee members, like what officers have said, the whole committee member is going to be investigated, and then a lot of other issues, follow-up issues will be happening, right? And at all times they must act in the best interest of members, all right? Transparency needs to be maintained at all times and to ensure compliance with relevant legal and regulatory requirements. Now, ordinary members, what must they do? Right? They also equally play an important role in participating in every activity of the association, attending meetings, and voicing their opinions on key issues. Right? When members fail to do that, committee members tend to go off tangent and they start sailing without knowing what is the real reason why they are representing the members. Right? And it is also important, the committee members must be able to hold the leaders accountable through established process. Now, it is only the members who can actually create a check and balance between the committee members, and the association, right? Some of the things that can be done is the association, as far as possible, must have regular general meetings. All right. Now we have minimum requirement under the law, right? Depending on your constitution, whether it's yearly or once in every 2 years. I think some associations have 3 years. All right. Instead of waiting too many years or leaving too much of a gap in between the meetings, have regular general meeting. All right. This will create a lot more transparency, a lot more trust is created, and it will enable the association to achieve its goal without much hindrance. All right. Members must also question the financial decisions. All right. Now, for members to question the financial decision, the committee members must be transparent in disclosing the actual financial transaction that has been taking place in the association, right to the bottom. Every penny of it is being accounted for. All right, and then members must be ready to vote on key matters. All right. I'm telling this based on my own experience, where members don't participate, members don't question. They just pay their subscription, they believe everything is taken care. All right. Now, you are a member, you have an interest in the association, you have to ensure you participate. All right. Members have the absolute power in deciding the fate of an association, not really the committee member. That's my opinion. It may differ from one officer to another, but it is the key is at the end of the day for an association to be transparent and be accountable. The key is with the members, right? another important aspect is, at all material time, the process of elections must be transparent. A clear, well-established process are being introduced as part of its policies. Right? If not under the constitution, it has to be part of your policy. And the reporting process before and after the AGMs or EGM has to be very, very clear. Right? Now, when we do that, we will be able to avoid a lot of issues. Right? And some of the suggestions that I have is an association must establish independent secretariat office. Right? It's not like the secretary has some spare staff, so I can borrow my staff, come and do some work for the association. As far as possible, trying to avoid that. Of course, for young establishments, young associations, yeah, we may face some financial constraint and all that, but eventually, as we progress, that should be the ultimate aim of the association, to have an independent secretariat office. Right? Now, the secretariat office needs to be paid. All right? Don't use them for free rides. Right? Because eventually, when you don't remunerate them for work done, okay, it will lead to a lot of other issues. A lot of behind the door things will be happening, right? And when they are paid, they are responsible for what they are doing. Even if they are not paid, they are responsible, you know. But now you're actually creating an employer-employee relationship between the association and the staff, and make them independent, make them only answerable to selected officer or the Secretary General, not taking instruction from every Tom, Dick and Harry in the hall. And at the end of the day, they are not functioning. You know, they are only trying to please everyone, so the work will not be done. All right, and then the associations must invest in training and establish independent office. Is the only way forward. Right, and automate processes as much as possible instead of relying on the conventional method, phone call. I've already told you, get this done. No, it's no longer the situation. Automate each and every process in running the association. Only with that will you be able to actually have an independent secretariat office to run, manage, and act in the best interest of its members. Right? And finally, committee members are answerable to its members. There's no two ways about it. All right. So therefore, having a clear guidelines and policies will definitely ensure members behave. Right. Sorry, the committee members and the association will act in the best interest of the members. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Raja. From what we have gathered here is, I think structure is very, very important, and a strong association is a good documented association. So everything has to be documented. There's I think the essential part that has been highlighted by 4 panelists. Okay, I just need to check with Dr. Magis because I did not time the. How many minutes do we still have time? Because I'm also going to open the floor for questions.
Another 10 more minutes.
We have 10 more minutes before the Q&A, is it? Okay. Since we have only 10 more minutes before the Q&A, why don't I open the floor for questions? Then maybe we can take more questions from the floor, right? So, anyone from the floor, you can ask questions. Yes, Captain? Can anyone pass a mic to him, please?
Hello everyone. My name is Captain Retired Bade bin Mansour. I'm also the President of Malaysian International Tourism Development Association. It has been quite enlightening for every one of us. So all of us here are orang lama juga. So we also have been in business after retiring from the army for 40 years now. Okay, gentlemen, as we know, RS is having the administrative power, register, giving money, giving suspension, and cancellation of the station. That's what we know, right? And then, Pembangunan or also SPRM, they have got their own power. There is the criminal power. They investigate, they arrest, and they charge. That is beautiful to hear, but it never happened on the ground. So having experienced for a long time, you see, even if ROS finds a crime, they hand over the case to the police officer or MACC, right? Okay, they cannot arrest directly because the law doesn't give them that power. But sadly, I'm giving you a real situation here. In one of the association, crime has been committed. Ding dong and this and that for about a few years. So ours found that about 15 offences, including breach of trust, committed by the, of course, everybody knows in any association, the most powerful is president and the secretary. This is another problem because there is loopholes, and when these two pakat, everybody will die. Because information to the EXCO, not reach this between of them, we say here and there, everything will be in trouble. Okay, when this particular person has been found with 15 offences, and RS throw it back to us, or you will make your own report. By right, if RS make the report, then it will be, the case will be better. When they ask the association members to make the report, you see, when we make the report, again, this, what they call, I'm not trying to blame the place, when we make a report, you make a report to SIO, okay, or IO, investigation officer, inspector, or SPO for the matter. But you are making the report against an accountant. Professionals, they can outsmart the police officer or officer anytime. So, example, in the report, you say AGM is not done. This people can come and do the AGM, look, AGM. So there's no case. And police have got also certain level to submit this case to the DPP. If the case is below than about 5% to it, they will. Or if they submit also, there's nothing can be done. It will be thrown out. So here, please lah, what I want to say. Imagine that kalau ada 4 orang saja to control the whole of KL punya, that cannot be done. This cannot be done because big money, big crime is committed. So what I'm trying to say is, if any report, you all have done investigation, you make the report to the police. If we make the report to the police, nothing will happen. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Captain, I think it was more like a statement than question. Okay, but thank you for sharing. Captain has been in the association for many years and he has faced a lot of problems, I guess. Anyone else would like to ask any questions? It's very rare to have such a forum where we have all the serious people on the stage. So, anyone want to throw any questions? Okay, if there's no question, maybe I will ask a question. Tuan Fu.
Yes, please. I'm looking for some statistics.
Okay.
Never mind, it's okay.
Okay. From the police standpoint, right, how does weak internal governance in associations sometimes lead to misuse of position? And what early warnings should leaders be alert, or the association members should be alert before it becomes a police matter?
Okay. But in any way, the earlier you lodge the police report, that's the best. Because the earlier we can start an investigation. Like what Captain has mentioned just now, some of the issue is you see, some cases it happens few years ago. Then they be traced back the trail of movement of the funds, and then the documents even are not enough, not sufficient. Because when we need to bring the case to the court, it's not the police per se. It's not police saying, okay, let's bring the case to court, let's bring the case to court. It is always from the deputy public prosecutor. When they see they have enough evidence to prosecute, to bring the thing to the case to the court, then only we can bring the case to the court. So it's different thing. So lodging a report is one thing. Investigation and getting the facts right enough is another matter. What we see is very simple. Oh, case happened. Faster lodge a report. Police must take action. Yes, police must take action. But remember, police is not there when things happen. Right, they are not there. So we need to gather information. And how much information can that company provide us? We need to get evidence. And how much evidence is there for us when it happens 10 years ago? So this is the documentation that I mentioned just now. So never mind, the blaming still goes on, but the red flag. This is where people don't like to be an auditor. You be an auditor is very tedious and people don't like you. Especially when people say, I'm going to audit your company or your associations in 2 months' time or next week, you see long faces. But that is the prevention. That is the best way of preventing misconduct in any associations and any company. So the more often you have audits, the better. The more things, the more procedures which you document it is much better. And then go back to the basic. Don't give veto power to 1 or 2 person. Yes. Take the trouble, make it 3 the best stuff. Because when you make it 4, it becomes 2 also troublesome. 4 like at least 3. So at least, and then the process and the procedures. When you have the process and the procedure, you must have the discipline and commitment to follow. Then you can sleep well at night. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Tuan Fu. I think since there's no question from the floor, anybody have any question? Yes, please. Can someone pass the mic?
There is here. Can use this.
Secretariat? Mic ada lebih?
Thank you.
Sure, no issue.
Thank you, Tuan.
Thank you. So, good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Saravanan. I'm here on behalf of BIM, Balai Tisas Malaysia, and also from MMA, Malaysian Medical Association. Well, since we have time, I don't know whether this is the right forum, but I thought since the gentleman from ROS is here, I've got the opportunity to ask something, It's, so mine is nothing to do with all the registered societies. Mine is I'm planning to register a society. So it's the other way around. So in order to register a society nowadays, it's not so easy because the society that I'm planning to register or I want to register has been rejected twice. Okay, so because of certain criteria and factors. And then the other issue is, earlier you said that you entertained calls, but from what my secretary said, ROS, I don't know, the Jalan Duta branch, I don't know where you're from, which branch? Jalan Duta, okay, well, good. Later I'll get your contact. Okay, so, they say they don't entertain calls and everything must be via email, and sometimes it takes time, and, so this the association that I'm planning to register is almost 1.5 years now, going to go to the 2nd year. So,
Is there any other faster way where we can come there? Because when my secretary goes to the ROS also, sometimes they don't really give us the proper advice. I'm sorry, sir, I'm sorry, but they don't really give us, what was the problem, why it got rejected, and then he has to come back again, call up for a committee meeting, and then start the process all over again. So we are in the and recently, I think your system was down, the e-process was down until the 12th of October. So then we had our Deepavali, and we still continue with Deepavali. So I don't know when we can start the process again. So this is my challenge in registering a society. Maybe this is not the right forum, but since you are here, I have taken this opportunity. Sorry, thank you.
No, all
That's
questions
the
are
one.
good questions. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Okay, thank you for asking me this question. Okay. Our original server, our first Eurozes, is handled by joint venture with Mampu. It's not wholly and maintained by us. So we need to the fund to get from the Kementerian Dalam Negeri, also need to approve that to make it ours. So that become the Eurozes 2.0. That become your question. Saya cakap banyak lah, memang that's a problem. Saya tak deny. It's a problem for us. Okay, the help desk is okay. When we ask to our KSU or mana-mana, we try to get more people into ROS, but anything kita tak boleh blame on manpower that set by JPA or SPA. So we get by what we have. So contohlah, we have a 5% or 6% help desk at one time. Contohlah, semua ada, tak khusus, tak pregnant, semua ada. So 200 call in a day, we get by 50%. Okay, contoh, one call take around 10 or 15 minutes. So maybe dalam 50% of that is answered. But sometimes benda tu get abandoned that that the people or the public tanyalah why, kenapa ROS is so late regarding all the registration, amendment, constitution, why must come at the counter? But when you come as counter, you dealing with kerani. Okay.
Sorry, shall we pause for a while? Can we do the close, continue and do the closing? I can? Okay, so sorry, because the what you call GOH is here. So yeah, okay. Okay, kita ulas ini dah untuk dia.
The RS 2.0 also become a problem because we are down about 1 month. Saya tak deny sebab benda tu memang happen to us and to the public. Benda tu is a problem to us as well. Sebab kita bila ROS buat benda tu, we mention is an upgrade, but it doesn't happen. Itu masalahnya. We try to get the vendor attention to get it fixed as soon as possible, because when our enforcement team, as myself, try to conduct anything, we need to print out throughout the system also. So it become a problem to us. So saya punya nasihat adalah it's better to email to us. Okay? Sebab when you show up to the counter or call, is handled by clerk or kerani. The general advice is almost all the same. Okay, macam mana saya nak daftar 7 orang ahli. Kategori apa, negeri ke, lain-lain ke, lain-lain is KL Selangor Putrajaya boleh. Kebangsaan is kena ada 7 states. So 7 people, 7 states. Kalau nak buat persatuan gabungan like FMDA, kena ada 7 NGOs yang berbeza from each state ataupun 7 persatuan yang berbeza. Tapi Tapi that's become a problem because benda tu, communication tu, bila dekat depan is not interpreted by, is not enough. Benda tu public tak dapat apa yang kerani tu cakap, sebab the general advice is so wide, the scope is so vast. So benda tu jadi macam you cakap dengan robot lebih kurang. Itu saya boleh cakap. Sebab the standard constitution is semua is the same. Sebab saya kata we have a standardized version within the RS. Standardized version tu adalah kita bagi pada siapa-siapa yang nak daftar in the first round, yang siapa yang nak buat, okay, this is the standardized version, kita try give it and to change a certain thing, itu boleh. Tapi bila we try to why benda tu is get rejected by a certain officer, then jangan tunggu lama. Saya cakap pada any association or any people in this room, kalau once you get to know is get rejected, email first, tanya why, kenapa rejected, as soon as possible. Jangan tunggu sampai 2-3 bulan, 6 bulan, setahun baru nak tunjuk, nak muncul ke. Benda tu jadi bila dah terlalu lama, benda tu sometimes officer dekat dalam kerajaan ni kerap bertukar, dalaman or luar. So bila benda tu contoh saya cakap ada yang unit pertubuhan for our registration ada buat, lepas tu tiba-tiba dia daftar dengan buat ini, tetap buat ini yang reject, tetapi benda tu terlalu lama menyebabkan notes yang tu is not handover, yang menyebabkan benda tu yang take over tu tak tahu apa yang pegawai lama ni buat. So sebab tu saya kata advice, any rejection or association, bila dah reject or query, dalam jumpa email ke, dalam spam ke, cuba tengok if any dalam dia akan muncul lah selalunya yang bagi tahu kalau rejected or query. Try to get hold of RS, mana-mana cawangan as soon as possible, because benda tu, supaya benda tu you boleh tackle or register as soon as possible lah. Sebab benda tu bila the flow is registration is any association goes through our pengarah first, is Tuan Hijri, then it will scatter to our officer, unit pertubuhan I think 4 officer. Okay, then benda tu akan jadi translate to registration. Itulah yang jadi. So apa pun boleh email lah. Nanti saya bagi email lah. Nanti apa-apa. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Encik, I have to cut you because I am also under a lot of pressure, from left, right, center. They are signaling me, they say YB is here. But give me 5 minutes. I need to do the wrap up. And everyone here on the floor, don't worry. All the 4 panelists are still going to be here and attend the dinner. So you have the whole night with them. Alright, so just to wrap up, I think there was good insights from all the panelists. They spoke about transparency, and the responsibility doesn't just lie on the president. Sometimes presidents go through a lot of pressure actually in an association because everything falls on their head. But for now, we have learned that all members are also part of the association and need to be responsible as well. So let us continue to lead our associations with responsibility, clarity and dignity, and may our leadership speak not only through our position but also through our actions as well. Thank you very much everyone for coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you to our moderator and panelists for such an engaging and meaningful discussion. As our moderator has said, our panels will still be around, sitting at that table at the end over there, and you may continue for more question and answers if you guys don't mind. All right. So to show our appreciation, we would now like to invite Deputy Secretary General Dr. Sri Danish to present tokens of appreciation to our moderator and distinguished speakers for their valuable contributions. Okay, the first one to Superintendent